Hey, there I am. There I am. I was keeping you waiting, like a fashionably late hot date with a hairy man, balding man. Does the sound work? It was as usual. As soon as you press software update, everything goes tits up. Can you actually hear me? Let me check. Oh yeah, I have to press that button that makes me look handsome. Testing, is that all right? There we go. Get it. I was about to phone you. Yeah, no, I'm here. Crikey. So, yeah, I come back from the gym about 15 minutes ago, had a quick shower, and then with about 2 minutes to go, sat down and it was software updated. All right, everyone's doing all right, yeah? Who's in? Lords, it's crikey, 500 already. It does depress me since I started self-censoring, swearing a lot less, and only ever referring to the founder of everybody's favourite desert fable as epileptic pot-bellied midget. All my numbers have gone up. Like, you shouldn't have to self-censor, and instead of saying that very short, the most popular boy's name in the whole of Europe now, the most popular boy's name in the whole of Europe, but if you say it on YouTube, don't like it. So, alas, unfortunately, I was more than happy to just use his basic name, common, most popular boy's name in Europe. But instead, I have to call him little fat epileptic pot-bellied dwarf. And apparently, that sounds much better. It's much more polite. Who decides that? Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? Like, I'm more than happy to just call him by his real name, but they don't like it. But if you say little, horrible, dirty, noncy, short-arsed, pot-bellied, epileptic desert midget, that's fine. That's fine. I feel like if I said that while stood outside Finsbury Park's famous Golden Bell End Church on a Friday night, I feel like they'd probably disagree with the regulars. Not the regulars at Allen's world-famous snack bar. I mean the regulars in bars and restaurants up and down Silicon Valley. But that's the way it is. Nobody's interested in my opinion. As usual. Right, there's loads of yous in today. Crikey, 700 in 4 minutes. That's like twice as many as BBC News gets. How have I only got 60,000 subscribers? There must be some shenanigans going on. Anyway, instead of pontificating about what goes through the heads of the raving lunatics that run the world, let's just talk about some of the best news of the week. Now, obviously, I've covered the big one, the neon green elephant in the room. One of my favourite ones is obviously the fact that the Prime Minister has been getting butchered, absolutely tortured by Elon, by the big dog himself. And this is like I keep saying, our long-term viewers are aware of this. I've said it for so long. You can't make an honest man into a liar. Doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter who you pay off or what you manipulate. Can't turn an honest man into a liar. So when, I don't know, someone like Douglas Murray gives a long-form interview where he just lays it all out there, like a foot of brown cable, that's about how welcome it'll be. Like that'll be about as welcome on The Spectator. It'll be about as welcome on Keir Starmer's doormat as a smackhead snapping one off on his doormat would be. Not very much. This one made me laugh from the Babylon Bee. Look, FBI asks ex-users to please stop solving crimes before they do, because it's amusing, isn't it, how people have always used the term globalist, and I never used to like the term because it sounds conspiracy theory like, and if you've got any sense, you do try, and this is how I understand the sticky situation that Reform have been put in, because obviously Tony Romo is popular with 50% of the country. But if you want to win a mass movement, you have to appeal to as many people as possible, don't you? So I think he's been put in a pickle there. I think even Lee Anderson knows it. Like, I think on the quiet, they know that he's right and they know that he didn't do anything wrong, but they're desperately trying to walk that line. And yeah, and everyone on YouTube kind of does that. We have to if we want to play the game and try and sway people over and win the argument. And it's what I was talking to Brooke and Rags about how the right wingers get into these purity cycles where if you don't agree with them on everything, they hate you. Like, they have a go at me. Like, I consider myself to be a genuine patriot. Like, I love the Anglosphere as a whole specifically. But if I have to pick one out of the five, I obviously love my homeland because it's where I was born and raised for 50 generations. And they have a go at people like me because I don't think absolutely everybody in the entirety of the country that has a chance should get deported. And they'll have a go, like, and they don't just have a go at you like a little bit, like they have a go at me as if I'm Owen Jones. And this is why you're in a weird situation, because you do have to toe the line. I told James Goddard this on Twitter. I was like, what you don't understand is, mate, it's kind of like virtue signaling on the left, you know, where they're performative and they say things that they don't really mean. If you instantly turn against anyone, I mean, and they even turn against Tony Romo, don't they, because they say he's in pay of the 4B2s and all this. They turn against everyone. So if you're like a right-wing patriot and you call yourself one in the UK, but you hate me and you hate Paz and you hate rotten politics and we got a problem and everybody else, you hate all of us because you think we're, you know, paid shills. And you hate my Artusi and you hate Farage, well, who's going to run the country then? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really weird to me. I'm happy to just agree with like 75% of stuff. I only agree with Carl Benjamin. He's probably my favourite. Watched him for over a decade. I only agree with him 80% of the time. And that's how life should be. Unless you're a weirdo where you have to agree with everyone all the time. I guarantee, when I come over for my live stream, and we'll do it in a boozer in York, and I'll meet a load of you lot, and I'll argue here about stuff. Some of you will disagree with me, and I'll go, nah, I think that's bollocks. But normal people do that in the pub and they disagree. It's really weird to me how the right-wingers think they can win anything. If the second they disagree with anyone on one thing, it's just like being woke, isn't it? The second you disagree with them, they hate you. I was like, okay then, well, so let's line up with the hate. Like the really, really stubborn ones hate me, Paz, Tony Romo, Farage, Lee, who else? Everyone you can think of. So it's like, so who's gonna vote for you then? You need to have a broad church, don't you? And ultimately, as I've said many times, I like being a pragmatist. I don't have to agree with them all the time. I just have to agree with them on I'd take 50% at this point. I voted for Johnson, and then he started being a slithery little slimy albino jellyfish, and I agreed with him on about 10%, and I was like, okay, I'm not voting for you anymore then. Don't agree with everything anyone says, do you? Surely not. Anyway, look, some important people have joined the chat. Spanner Anchor, he's become a YouTube member. Therefore, he's important now. Well done. Spindly Killerfish has done the same. God bless you. As I said, seems like the more members you get, the more YouTube leave you alone, because obviously they're like Hollywood agents, except I don't have to give them a gobble twice a week on the casting couch. So, frankly, I'd rather give them 25% of my super chats, as long as I don't have to hum the national anthem with Harvey Weinstein's conkers in my mouth. All right, I'm winning. Joe's giving me a tenner just for no reason. Joe, thank you very much. Long-term supporter of the channel. What would we do without people like Joe? And honesty and truth. Cheers. Not difficult to work out. Men flee with their families from war. Lone men go to war. Yeah. But common dog ain't so common, is it? In this day and age, common dog ain't so common. That, you know, I can talk about that. This reminds me of something else I was thinking about today. When I was in the gym, I was watching Sharp. You know you're getting old. I remember when my dad was watching Sharp in about 1992 and I was like, boring, I was 12. The two things my dad used to watch in 1992 that I thought were terrible were, well, not terrible, just boring, didn't used to watch them, was Star Trek The Next Generation and Sharp. I guess early 90s, I don't know exactly what year it was. And he used to watch them and I used to be like, boring. And now, I know I'm old because I'm as bad-tempered as my dad. I'm balding like my dad, and I watch the same TV that my dad did. So I was watching Sharp, And I was laughing how the officer class hasn't changed since, well, probably in the UK with its disturbingly refusing to budge ever class society. It's been a thing for hundreds and hundreds of years, hasn't it, in the UK? But the officer class are just complete lemons in it, aren't they? Because they haven't got a Scooby-Doo. They don't get into the minds of the working people. They've got no idea. They're totally alien to them. And it made me think about all that's gone on in the last few days because, well, here's a good one. Winston Marshall. He said, this one actually retweeted to remind me to talk about it because I think one of the daftest things I've heard of the last 2 days when I've been slagging off Starmer is people saying, why is Elon Musk weighing in on British politics? It's got nothing to do with him. I was like, hang on, you bought a professionally made Donald Trump baby balloon and flew it above the capital of England because you don't like Donald Trump. You've been saying orange man bad, meh, aggressive Trump derangement syndrome 365 days a year for 8 years. And now, finally, someone's weighing in on British politics. And they're all going, well, what's he doing that for? I was like, come off it. And I know a lot of these people are just trolling you. They don't actually believe what they're saying to you. Because one of them, on Paz's channel, some silly mayor said, oh yeah, why do you think it's acceptable? Why is Elon Musk having a pop when he's not even from the UK? Why is he why is he opining on our politics? And up underneath, what? You mean nobody in the UK talked about Donald Trump for the last 8 years? And she said, of course not. Give examples, please. And I was like, you're trolling me. Like, these people are just trying to get you to waste your time. As I said, you have to laugh. Not, get drawn into a protracted argument with them. She wanted me to be sat there typing away furiously. Oh, well, in July of this year, and then there's something as self-evident as Trump derangement syndrome being a global problem is so self-evidently obvious. It doesn't warrant a proper response, does it? I've told you this loads of times. When you say something and you get some lefty, you're saying something that is so palpable. And some lefty goes, actually, or sauce. Oh, where's the sauce for that, eh? I don't need a sauce. I said, what do you want me to do? Provide you a sauce for those clouds in the sky? What do you mean, sauce? Nobody opined about Boris Johnson. And Winston Marshall's made a good point here. If it's acceptable for British politicians to kneel for St. George, why is it not acceptable for American citizens to tweet about the victims of probably some of the most appalling crimes I've ever had the misfortune to read about? If it's acceptable for Labour to send 100 staff to the United States to campaign for Kamala, why is it not acceptable for a bloke to say something about British politics? Again, the hypocrisy is staggering. This is why everybody hates them. And this is what I was trying to tell Anna Soubry, who I'll cover in a moment because she's mentally ill as well. They're living in cloud cuckoo land. Like, the Labour government 2 months ago paid for activists to go to America to campaign for Harris. And everyone was saying, is this a good idea? Pissing off a potential president by the sitting British government interfering in the United States presidential election. Is this a good idea? Doesn't sound like a good idea. And they were like, and then one bloke, Musk, happens to be foreign. Got nothing to do. He hasn't got an official government position. He's just a rich guy. And he goes, oh yeah, this isn't very good, is it? Kids getting rogered above kebab shops, and they go, oh my God, what's he getting involved in politics for? Well, it's not really politics. If you're not mentally ill, you don't think being upset about little girls getting rogered more than a copper's radio above a seedy kebab shop by 25 hairy-arsed geezers, you don't think that's a political issue. You just think that's a matter of right and wrong. But because they're mentally ill, and they think if you've got a bit of a tan, it instantly becomes a political issue. Therefore, one bloke tweeting is interfering in British politics, but 100 members of the British government flying to America to door knock for one candidate isn't interfering in British politics. So think of that. Think of that. A foreign bloke gets outraged about an 8-year-old getting banged like a barn door in a hurricane, and that's interfering in politics. Like what? Unless he's diddling Angela Rayner's kids, I don't see how that's involved in politics. Unless he's horsing one into Keir Starmer's daughter, I don't think that's got anything to do with politics. But I definitely think 100 members of the government flying to America and knocking on doors for Kamala Harris has got something to do with politics, hasn't it? No, just me. All right, fair enough. Pavilion P. TNG was so good. Absolute masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece. I've said it many times. I'm even trying to get my mother-in-law to watch it. She was scornful when I was waxing lyrical about it over Christmas dinner. I said, I'm telling you, just watch it. It's essentially, the science fiction is just like a skin suit to make it popular to the masses, to make it palatable. What it is some of the best deep thinking philosophy about the moral quandaries that humans struggle with that you'll ever see outside of like a novel written by Hume or Locke or something. Like, it's fantastic. That episode, The Drumhead, I think it is, where they're arguing about whether data has self-determination, is fantastic. And the whole reason Picard's got so famous for his speeches is because they're just superb. They're like the type of things you'd expect from Winston Churchill on the floor in Parliament or something. Like, amazing stuff. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about Star Trek. God bless Trump, Elon, and you. And obviously, I don't like to even say the T word. In fact, they're going to just start knocking them all down. Every single word we say will have to be like a nom de... Is it nom de plume, a pen name? Or a nom de guerre? It'll have to be God bless Tony, Eric, Tony the Tiger. Do you remember the Tony the Tiger from Morrison's? It was like 99 pence a box, and he used to go, "The grand lad." Aye, and he had a flat cap on. Anyway, thanks for that, Richard. Cheers. It's a funny old game, isn't it? The modern day. It's a funny old game. So that's just self-evidently obvious. I can't believe it. And yeah, they were taking the knee. It's mind-blowing. And as I said, if you're living by the Bootneck's mantra that you don't get upset, you just laugh. You ruthlessly mock these people. You try not to get upset, but when you read, as I have, the first-hand accounts, or Peter McLaughlin's book, or like I've told you, there's a lot of good stuff out there. It's hard not to get angry, but then you just read about our leader's response to it and focus on that. Instead of really poisoning your brain and focusing on what they did, focus on the response of the British government. And then it is funny. It is funny. Like, you read something that is so stomach-turning, 9 out of 10 right-minded people would instantly be like, bring back the chair, bring back the chair. Yeah, electric lazy boy. In fact, lazy boy's not big enough. Electrify the drinking equipment in a German beer hall. One of them, get the biggest German beer tent you can find full of benches during Oktoberfest and stick them all on it and then wire it to the mains. That's what right-minded people think when they read about the torture, the dousing them in petrol, the burning them. One of them got branded. Like, it's medieval. And right-thinking people read it and are so angry, they almost want to go out into the streets and commit acts of vandalism. But people that are woke read it and go, this is all just bigotry. That never happened. You know what we should talk about? Gary Glitter. Well, I love talking about Gary Glitter. Being the butt of many a joke, right? Owen Jones loves it up the Gary Glitter. Everybody knows that. I use Gary Glitter for many things. Colourful synonyms, comedy gold, quips about not dropping your laptop off at PC World when there's 350,000 pictures of Vietnamese girls grabbing their ankles. I use Gary Glitter all the time, but I don't use him to obfuscate the point when some twisted, raving lunatic has been torturing and branding children, and you just want to slither around it and go, you know what we should talk about? You're fair, right? Fair, right? It's like, Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this? Crikey, 20 nicker. You know you're making the big time when people give you 20 quid just for talking. I'm like a Z-list celebrity. Having won Monopoly, I'm feeling flushed. Tinnies for the bootneck. Nice one. Spindly Killerfish, cheers, mate. Are you talking about the fruit machine or McDonald's Monopoly? Both are good. But here's how old I am. When I very first started playing fruities down at Redcar when I was like 14, the top prize was a £5. Then it went to £6. Then it went to £8. Then it went to a tenner, the dizzy heights of a tenner. I remember being like, whoa, you can win a tenner in a fruity. And now, I went over and you can do like 300 quid on a slot machine, can't you? Have you got a dicky eye, Matt? Davey, I've noticed, Codhead, you're always picking on my physical appearance. When I see you in Saltburn, I rang my mate Muzzy today. I am going to Saltburn in like end of February or March. I'll be in Saltburn and I'll see you in the Cons Club. And I'm telling you what, you best look like, I don't know, who's a dashing older guy? You best look like Robert Redford. Because in a glass house, you don't throw stones, son. He says I've got a boss eye, thin in hair, craggy face. You best look like Robert Redford. And if you don't, you'll be getting a slap, Davey. No, I don't think I've got a dicky eye. What do you mean? Was it? I didn't sleep very well last night. Maybe I've got a bit of a bag under it. Who knows? No, I haven't got a wonky face as far as I'm aware. Sloth. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, so that's funny. Let's have a look what else we can laugh at. The Twitter's great now, isn't it? Isn't it good? I told you. I love Twitter now. I've figured out as well, for those of you that have been banned a few times, what you need to do is, the only thing that they seem to do you for now is directly threatening people, or, and this is a weird sort of thing, even joking about anyone topping the self. I got banned the last time for about a month ago because I said, basically Starmer was visiting a load of sailors on a Navy ship, and I jokingly said, what you should do is do all the sailors a solid and hoy yourself overboard. And apparently, even saying that, having a crack, I guess the robots go, oh, that's making light of, you know, ending your existence, to use the hippie terminology. Hey, far out, man. Didn't I say that was what a hippie told me once in Taunton? He was like, how do you do your job, man? Like, totally ending people's existence, bro. Ending people's existence. Yeah, so if you make a joke about that, they'll do you. But other than that, I think you're good. And I think Twitter's hoofing. Like, now, because honestly, I just go on there and torture all these politicians. Just absolutely butcher them. And it's brilliant. You never get your wrist slapped for just torturing them. Like, this is what I love. Personal insults. And that's something else that, can I just briefly give a screed in defence of personal insults? Because I know this is like verboten in the political and serious political sphere, but I don't have to be in the serious political sphere because I'm just a bootneck. And in the pub with normal working class people, do you know anyone who doesn't occasionally take the piss out of sort of the way someone looks? Like, it's banter. It's how normal people talk to each other. If you've got a mate with a big nose, he gets called Cyril Sneer. If you've got a mate with manky teeth, he gets called Sloth or whatever. If you've got a mate with a, I don't know, wonky head, you call him 50 pence pea-napper. Like that lass who got one in the head off. Remember the BLM activist, Sasha? Was it Sasha? I don't remember her surname. That lass who took one in the napper. You know, the one who was going on about how horrible and violent all the English men were. And then she promptly headbutted a 9mm round at a party in a very, very, very diverse neighbourhood of England. And now she's got a heed like a 50 pence piece. Yeah, that's it. Johnson. Yeah. Up 50 pence pea-napper. I guarantee if she was drinking in my local, that'd be her nickname. 50 pence. That'd be her name. Wait, there's a fat bloke in my local, he just gets called the Pie Eater. No one even knows his real name. You know, like if you're not dead pally with him, you don't know his real name. I don't know his actual name. I just know him as the pie eater, and it's what people do. So can we really get away from this, where it's the worst thing ever calling someone a name? It reminds me of like when you get the politicians kicking off about Donald Trump calling somewhere. I mean, I'm going to self-censor because I'm trying to build my following, and it seems better if you don't use profane language, which annoys me. So maybe this has helped me get out my system, because obviously calling someone ashtray or Cyril Sneer doesn't flag any foul language filters. But like, you know what I'm saying? He called Haiti an S-hole, right? Which objectively, as it's one of the poorest nations on planet Earth, it definitely is. And there isn't a single person who is middle class or lower who doesn't routinely use the word S-hole. Is there? There's not one. There's not one. But when the Orange Oracle said it, they were like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. I was like, what? Do you think scaffolders don't drop F and C bombs every sentence? When I'm in the pub, I swear profusely. It's actually effort for me not to constantly swear. A, because I was listening to my dad's Chubby Brown tapes when I was 10 years old. And B, I was reading The Viz when I was 8. Like, I remember being a little kid, about 8, and my brother reading me The Viz, like, and I used to chuckle away. I used to love it. So, like, normal people swear. The Viz used to sell massive amounts of copies back in the 80s and the 90s. Sell ridiculous amounts. Like, I think at one point I read Chris Donaldson, he's called, the bloke who started it. I read his book, and I think I read in there that at one point in the UK in the like 80s or the 90s, he was the second best-selling magazine in the whole of the UK. So that's what the normal people think. The whole thing that they've started in England with regards to what you're allowed to say is a fiction that nobody really talks about in the media or in the political eye, because it's a total fiction. Like, everybody swears a bit, everybody uses coarse language, and people insult each other, often about their physical appearance. This isn't strange or alarming to anyone. So I don't know what the crack is there. I don't know why you can't do it in the public forum, but I'm at least trying to make mocking people like Jess Phillips for having teeth like a witch doctor's necklace. I'm at least trying to make that a thing. So if everyone can just pitch in, and whenever you see her on Twitter, do what I do and point it out, please tell her that she could eat an apple through a tennis racket, and it'll do the world of good. I think we'll be furthering political discourse in the United Kingdom. All right, brilliant. So thanks for that. Oh, hey, I've got another starred one here. Dixie Dean's got me a diver. Thanks very much. Dixie Dean, got to be a former bootneck, Dixie Dean. And Pavilion P's gifted some. I still don't understand how they work. As long as I don't have to do anything, I'm happy with that. As long as I don't have to press anything. Thanks for that, Pavilion P. I'm sure they'll go to good use. What else have we got? Mehdi Hassan, there's another good one. Unbelievable, innit? Bill Ackman has jumped on the online bandwagon and calling for Trumpy to put sanctions on the UK. These billionaires have lost their mind. Again, literally. You can't literally lose your mind. The only way you can literally lose your mind is if you get your head blew off by an IED, by a shoe bomber, someone who Mehdi Hassan's probably pals with. So you can't literally lose your mind. And him saying that he's lost his mind is in response to this. And this is true. I'll read you the whole thing with a few censors, because obviously I have to on YouTube. I'll read you the whole thing. Is he telling a lie? When someone's lost the argument, they just resort to name calling, don't they? So Mehdi Hassan there's going, oh yeah, he's lost his mind. It's crazy. He's crazy. Nothing to see. Crazy. I'll read you the whole thing. Yes, he does have it straight. In fact, I'll blow it up so you can see it all. There we are. There we go. Like being on a roller coaster. So it says, Mehdi Hassan, because he's obviously pro pot-bellied, epileptic, desert midget. He said, oh, Bill Ackman's lost his mind. There's no other words. There's no other word, lost his mind. Now I'm going to read you what he's responding to, and you tell me if any of this is wrong. You tell me if a single word of this is wrong, right? Do I have this straight? For more than 2 decades, hundreds of thousands of young British girls have been surprise sexed by members of principally one ethnic group. Is there a single letter in that sentence that isn't true? One. Hasn't even got a typo. Okay? Easy. So that's the first half. So 100%. Well done, foreign gentlemen. 100% nailed on. Efforts to stop these egregious acts have been curtailed by British government leaders and politicians, the media, and others because of concerns about prosecutorial efforts and media exposure of these crimes appearing racist, and or due to the risk of political support from members of this ethnic group. Cases have been dismissed and or not pursued, among other reasons, because the underage girls were deemed to have made lifestyle decisions that have led to the horrors they have experienced. Again, stop for a breather. Is any of that I've just read you, is any of that not 100% blob on? Any? I'd love to hear any of it. Just reading the chat there while I was drinking. Is Raina's tongue inflatable? Aye, she does sound like she's chewing on a sock, doesn't she, when she's talking? Whoa, D-Devon sent me $19.99. That's enough for a pair of gym shorts or 35 cans of the beer that I drink. Cheers, mate. So that's all bang on, innit? Every single word of it is bang on. What else have we got? Cases have been dismissed or not pursued, among other reasons, because the underage girls were deemed to have made lifestyle decisions. Yeah, and again, as you all know, you don't have to be Rumpole of the Bailey, do you? You don't have to be Rumpole of the Bailey. If you're 11, you can't make lifestyle decisions. You don't need to be a barrister, KDC, Rumpole of the Bailey. You don't need to be a professional legal eagle to know that a 12-year-old girl can't consent to getting rogered like a copper's radio by a 58-year-old fella, beardy weirdy. Can you? You can't. It's obvious to anybody with a hole in their ring. The relatively few prosecutions resulted in abbreviated sentences and early releases. Yes, it's all true. All of it. One of them, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go off on a tangent, right? So there's no, I'm boring you anyway. It's all true. Every bit of it's true. I'm going to go off a tangent and hope I can find the thing that I replied to, which is, because how many times have I joked? Let's have a look. Gotta be here. How many times have I joked over the last 4 years? It's like one of my favourite gags, saying that in the UK, the British government are so bent and so dodgy and so unbelievably infantile that even if you're on the register, you'll end up working as a lollipop man. How many times have I joked about that? And that's what they did. I'm just trying to find the story. I've made too many comments and I can't find it now. There was a story. You'll have to just take my word for it. I tell no lies. I've been doing this for 4 years. Don't tell lies. About, I don't know, I think it was about 4 o'clock yesterday, I found a story about this bloke. Maybe someone can link it in the chat. Who was a full-blown leader of a grooming gang. He was the actual leader of one. He got sent. Here we are. I found it. Look, found it. Finally. Check this out. How many times have I made the joke about one of them getting made a lollipop man? It's like my favourite gag, like, oh yeah, the Labour government, you get out of prison for 2 years after horsing one into 50 kids, and they give you 2 years in prison, and when you get out, they'll make you a lollipop man. And everybody used to laugh and go, haha, that's funny because it's, ludicrous. Of course they won't make you a lollipop man. Look at this. Oldham Council employed the ringleader of the abuse gang, Shabir. They don't like names like that. We'll just call him Sean. Sean Allen. Sean Allen, the convicted leader of the Rochdale, and again, why mince words? Full-blown torture, full-blown surprise sex, occasionally murder. They should all be doing 35 years in jail. He was convicted, and then when he got out of jail, they made him a welfare rights officer. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And that Mahdi Hassan has the brass neck to have a pop at that billionaire when every single thing he's just said is 100% right. He's like, oh, this guy's a little crazy. He's lost his mind. He's saying that the ringleader was employed by the council as a welfare officer. He was. He was, knobhead. Shabir has been conquer deep in more 10-year-olds than I've had hot dinners, and Oldham Council went, let's make him a welfare rights officer. What rights have they got? Rights to gobble off a fat bald bloke if they want to get the electricity bill paid every week. It's unbelievable. The tune. Don't start me on the tune, no. I told you what does me head in about Newcastle's like Liverpool. Always vote Labour. Like, they do me head in. And I remember there was a lefty Labour voter in the car. But not many, but some of them were. And he was a Geordie. And I've mentioned this before. I used to gob off going, I can't believe it, man. They've filled the tune with Puma Chuggies, like. And I was like, yeah, you voted for it. What do you think you're voting for? And I'll tell you what, the MP from Newcastle is probably one of the thickest going. But she doesn't quite make the news as much as Diane Abacus. But honestly, she is a proper shit for brains. In fact, have you seen the clip of Chianura? Let me just type that in. I'll just type Chianura. Look at this one, right? If we're gonna do childish insults, let's go balls deep. There's Chianura, right? Wookie. That is a Wookie in a pantsuit. The phrase bobbing for apples in a deep fat fryer was invented for that. Honest to God, I wouldn't put me granddad's cock in Chianura, let alone do it myself. I'd rather bagpipe me granddad than the Newcastle Wookie. And you get what you vote for. You get what you vote for. So don't be whinging about the tune. You lads, I'm sorry to say, have voted for that for, what, a decade? Longer? I don't even know. The North East's a joke, man. Middlesbrough's bad. We threw Andy out and put in Dave Budd, the last borough mayor, ran over a pensioner on Linthorpe Road. They all covered it up and Cleveland police said there was no CCTV. It's unbelievable. So this is just comedy gold. Like I said, it's a comedy of errors all the way through. Oh, look at that. 92 likes. This is what I'm saying about getting away with it on Twitter now. It's class, that, innit? Jade Blue was going, oh my God, Jess Phillips is brilliant. She's an icon and a fierce advocate. And I said, she's a surprise sex enabler and she's got teeth like a dead sheep. 127 likes. Twitter's brilliant, isn't it? See? God bless Elon. He's doing the Lord's work. 127 likes for juvenile tripe. I love that. Fantastic. What a place to be. What else have we got that's good on here? The BBC Spews live on. Oh, that's just me. Amando, he's another one. A big, fat, baldy, social justice warrior who doesn't care if kids are getting tonked up and down in England because Amando Iannucci is a well-heeled, upper middle class, Oxford, Cambridge boys club. Oh, hello, Tristan. How are you doing? Is Tarquin all right? Oh, jolly good. I'll have a Pimm's old bean. He's one of them. So Armando Iannucci, as long as he gets to stay in the boys club, he doesn't care if 10,000 girls get tonked in a council estate. These people are beneath contempt. Beneath contempt. You think you hate them enough. You definitely don't. Shovel some more contempt on the bommy. Come on, do it. Do it. Oh, crikey, I've got all sorts coming in today. Jordan made a super sticker. I don't even know. I can't see them on StreamYard. L Pound. That's a hard name to pronounce. Thanks, L Pound. Stu, give me £1. That'll do. That's 2 cans of lager when you drink absolute dishwater like me. And the angry Chelsea fan. Crikey. Crikey, I've even got a Chelsea fan following me. I hope I'll get rid of that quick. I hope my dad doesn't see it. But I'm not a collectivist. I do support the 40% of London that aren't communists. So welcome, the angry Chelsea Football Club. It's a crazy time to be alive. Armando Nucci. Basically, it's upside down world, isn't it? I've talked a lot about this, upside down world. Essentially, in this day and age, the worst people you can possibly imagine are the ones praised by the government and given knighthoods and rewarded. And if you're the ringleader of a torture group, a gang who, think about this, this isn't any exaggeration. If you went back 100 years and you were called Shabir and you organised a gang with your mates where you passed round 10-year-old girls and you set them on fire and you branded them, you literally would hang for it. That was the state's punishment. We had a headsman, and that's what they do. That's what they do. This isn't hyperbole. That was something that the British state used to engage in 100 years ago. And now, this is how bad it's got, how much the rot set in. Now, if a bloke called Shabir moves over, brands a child, and then systematically and ruthlessly tortures her malevolently and maliciously, because they torture them. They don't just get the rocks off like a normal diddler. You know, at least Jimmy never used to brand him. I mean, there's a phrase you don't often hear. Yeah, you won't see that on GB News. At least Jimmy. Don't often hear those words. Those 3 words together in a sentence these days, do you? At least Jimmy. But seriously, at least Jimmy was just getting his rocks off. Far as I'm aware, he never tortured anyone. He didn't set anyone on fire or brand anyone, did he? But Shabab did. And what does he get? He gets a cushy, all expenses paid, free ride off the council. See, you could argue, pretty bad, victimless crime. No. Obviously, I'm joking. But you know what I'm saying. I'd argue it was worse. Yeah, Victor. Yeah, thinking about that, I don't really think you can call it a victimless crime, because if me granny died, she's a cadaver, but I could have her. Yeah, if me granny died, and as I was leaving the funeral parlour, she's just there, stiff as a board on the table. If I was walking out and Jimmy was there and he was like, do you mind if I have a go? I wouldn't be like, yeah, crack on. Crack on, she's dead, and jizz all over her. No, I wouldn't. So, all right. But what I'm getting at is, Jimmy's worse. Sorry, Jimmy's not as bad. And Shabab got an all expenses paid. Because this is the world we're living in. Up is down and left is right. You know you've got a morally bankrupt society when the people that whistle blew about it lost their jobs. The people that tried to tell everyone about it got punished. Rosie Duffield got sacked. That lass from Manchester, lifelong copper, she got a bollocking for trying to spread the word, didn't she? So the criminals get punished and the righteous get smashed and lose the jobs and lose the careers, and the criminals get let off. And that's the world we're living in. Do you remember the series Dirty Sanchez? That was out there. I think that was like a limey version of Jackass, wasn't it? Back in was it the early noughties when all that stuff was popular? I think I was about 21, so I do remember it. Everybody was into it. But it's crazy time to be alive, isn't it? So there's another one. Armando Iannucci is praised by the great and the good, as if he's a good person. Words and smiles. Even that, innit? That's what I'm saying. Like, people like me don't go on the telly and talk about how grand and worthy of praise we are. But he has words and smiles on his thing as if he's some sort of like arbiter of all that's good and righteous in the world. But he helped cover up. He helped cover up crimes, monstrous crimes against children. He did. He knew. People like him know, and they've got a big platform and they don't say anything about it. He worked for the BBC, didn't he? Of course he knew. They all know, and none of them do anything about it. So, yeah, I do think I'm better than you, to quote Anna Soubry. Yeah, I'm better than you. You're a bad person, Amanda. You don't get to talk. How long have I told you lot? I've told you lot this. Never, ever let them talk down to you. Ever. Ever. You dig your heels in and you argue. Whenever some holier than thou. I told you, Sargon, again, I like 80%. I agree with 80% of his politics, but what annoyed me about him is how soft he was when he went on Victoria Derbyshire. I'd have absolutely tortured her. Because you can't make an honest guy, an honest man, into a liar. He's too genteel because he's trying to get into politics. And when someone hoyed a fish at him and he was like very, very polite about it. He was like, excuse me, madam, that was a fish. What I'd say is, here, throw another one and guess where it's going to end up. I'll give you one guess and it ends up your arse. One guess. I'm sick of this politeness. They use every dirty, slimy trick in the book and they expect politeness in return. Don't play the game. He did. I'm not denying that. I love loads of his stuff. Did in the thick of it, didn't he? And I think The Death of Stalin's one of the best the historical films I've ever watched. But he's still a worm. John Lennon was a piece of human trash. Still wrote good music. As I've told you, I can separate the man from the art. It's easy. These lunatics just living on another planet. There's another one. We call them globalists, but it's the same in every country, isn't it? It's the exact same in England. So in the United States, the Democrats weaponise the FBI to falsely claim, I mean, God, who thinks supremacists are a greater threat than that when in the United States, they literally, there you go, one of the rare occasions someone on YouTube uses the term literally correctly, they literally reduced two of the most majestic buildings in human history to rubble and killed 2,000 people in one day. And the FBI think they can convince the entire world, oh, you know what the real problem is? Bloke's been a little bit prejudiced. Yeah, cheers then. Can you imagine? Imagine if your wife and both your kids, because you were unlucky, it was bring your daughters to work day, and all three of them got flattened. I think I'm right there, Gimwagon. I think them numbers got revised. I think it's about 2,000. Closer to 2 than 3. We used to always say 3. I think it's about 2,300 or something. I don't think it's quite as high as we thought. About 250 English people as well. But the point is, you're never going to convince Americans, no matter how hard you try, that the greatest threat is people being a little bit prejudiced when you're in the country where they reduced the Twin Towers to rubble. And it's the same in England. You can lie and obfuscate and make as much nonsense up as you like. You're never going to convince the people. Again, I don't know how. I can't believe I have to say this, but you're never going to convince the people of England. And again, I don't even need Google because I pay attention. We can reel them off. Emily Jones had a throat slit by a regular at Allen's. She was Albanian, right? Lee Rigby, unscheduled surgical procedure in the middle of London. Absolutely medieval. 10 times worse than just a bog standard gang shooting or something, right? We had 7/7, bombs on buses, trains. We've had Manchester Evening News Arena, little Safi, God bless her, by Sulman, who we rescued from Libya and bought every single Weetabix he ever ate, was paid for by me. And he repays that charity by scattering a load of kids up the side of the Manchester Evening News Arena. We've had that. We've had Borough Market, London Bridge, unending death. We've had full-blown decapitations in Reading just because these dudes were gay. Endless tapestry of death and misery, culminating most recently in the little girls at the Taylor Swift dance class. It was so monstrous, no one ever saw it coming. You wouldn't think that to purposely slice up 9-year-olds at a Taylor Swift dance class. Everything you think of that's the most depraved thing you ever can imagine, they somehow managed to sink to new depths. And then after it all, they go, you know what the real problem is? Tony Romo's not very polite. Oh, really? No, not very polite. Never kebabbed an 8-year-old though, did he? Never happened. Or they'll say, oh, Mr. Mellier, you know what the real problem is? Mr. Mellier put some stickers on a lamppost. Did he? Did he put some stickers on a lamppost? Yeah, well, that's pretty bad. Not as bad as blowing up 20 kids, though, is it? Not as bad as that. I can go on all day. How many people have they locked up lately? Oh, that old granny, you know what she said? She said we should sink all the boats. Yeah, and yeah, all the boats are full of hairy-ass geezers, 20-year-old men, no women and children. Yeah, I mean, they are, but she still shouldn't have said it. Oh, yeah, well, okay, she shouldn't have said it. Definitely shouldn't have. But is it as bad as tonking 50,000 girls and pouring petrol on them and sometimes setting them on fire and branding them? Or Chris Donaldson? Is it as bad as any of that? The stuff they've done, everyone goes on about bloody, what's his name? Stephen Lawrence. Stephen Lawrence was at least he was like, what, 20 or something? All I know was a teenager. He was like a man. He was like a big man and he was tussling with other men. Don't tell me that that's as bad. Yeah, it was monstrous. You shouldn't kill someone for what they are. But don't tell me anyone, a male of the age of 16 plus, is anywhere near as bad as 8-year-olds getting knifed at the dance class. Because it just isn't. And yet all we hear about is everything else. Oh, you want to talk about Taylor Swift dance class? What about Stephen Lawrence? Oh, you want to talk about Manchester Evening News Arena? Well, I'll see that and I'll raise you one Sam Mellier putting a sticker on a lamppost. Take your head for a shite if you think that's a problem. Honest to God, people are lunatics. Raving lunatics. Objectively. I don't know how you do it objectively because we're not talking maths or geography or anything. But objectively, Manchester Evening News Arena, Taylor Swift dance class, they beat everything. They beat everything. Oh yeah, 50,000 girls abused. They beat everything. Torture, death of children. It's worse than anything any Englishman has ever done ever to any minority community ever in English history. Definitely. And I'll put money on it. I can't think of anything worse. I mean, one of the worst things you can think of that we've done. We've done some bad stuff. Don't think we ever did that. They're going about India. We did them a solid. If it wasn't for us, India would just be 50 warring tribes. You're welcome, knobheads. We give them tea. That props the whole economy up now, doesn't it? Every nice building over there we built, you can have that for now, lads. We'll look after you. But don't tell me we should just chill when people are knifing little girls at a dance class. Anyway, I've said enough there. I'm ranting a bit. I'll do one more tweet and then we'll call it a day. What's a good one? That's a good one. We'll just show that because that definitely deserves saving for posterity, like Jess's teeth. They'll outlive humanity. That set of ivory. She'll die and them teeth will live forever. They'll outlive the fossil record. There's so much ivory in them. Mammoths will be ground to dust in 1 billion years, but Jess's teeth will still be there. You know, magma flowing over them. What else have we got that's good? Someone give me a chuck up there. He's a 40k chud as well. Oddball scrapyard's very based. Yeah, there's a good point. So this is worth watching. We can watch 5 minutes of it while I have a drink because I'm getting a bit, my throat's a bit sore. Every single word of this is true. Every single word of it. I'll put the link to the whole thing in the comments for you all. Watch it. If you don't follow The Spectator, watch that. Because every single word of it's true. And you know it is, and this is what I keep saying, Starmer, Soubry, Anna Soubry, I was having a pop at her, because everything she says is lies. Everything she says is lies. It's like when the Brexit thing was on. Everything she said is the exact opposite of the truth. Anna Soubry, here she is. Let's see what absolute bollocks this creature is spitting into cyberspace today. Look at her. I'm looking at her. Face, walnut with a face drawn on it. You know why that is? Because it's like karma. If you lie constantly, it shows in your face. And that's why Soubry has an head like a walnut with a face drawn on it. She's got an head like a witch doctor's rattle. What a creature she is. Anna Soubry is a professional liar. When the Brexit thing was going off, all she did was lie. She was calling everyone who disagreed with her a racist, a fascist, one bollocked Austrian dictator, everything. And then the second Goddard started to chant, because she'd been saying it about us for 4 years. She'd been saying about us for 4 years whilst ignoring the Brexit referendum. And the second we got a chance to give her some back, and he started to chant, Soubry is a Austrian one bollock dictator. Soubry is a Austrian one bollock dictator. She got him locked up. Well, you can't call Anna Soubry names. Anna Soubry can brand 20 million people, far-right Nazi fascists. She can do that. But you're not allowed to do it in return. Nah, not allowed. It's against the rules, that. But as soon as you call her one name, she gets you locked up if she can. She's a tyrant. She is what we were calling her. And then she spread that. Look, this is defamatory. No, it isn't. My challenge to you, Anna, is if that's defamatory, sue him. How many times have I told you? Doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter how much you cheat, lie, slither, pay off, sneak, backstab, cheat, whatever. You can never make an honest man into a liar. I've just been talking for 59 minutes and 5 seconds. Every single word of it was true. As God is my witness, if any one of them wants to send them this video, get them to sue me. Anna, you know my real name. Sue me. If every single word that Douglas Murray doesn't say in that article isn't true, sue him. It's this one, by the way. I said I'd share it. Here. Every single word's true. So sue him. If it's lies, why haven't you sued The Spectator? Why haven't you sued Douglas Murray? Why haven't you sued Elon Musk? Why haven't you sued Peter Hitchens? Why haven't you sued the Daily Telegraph? Why haven't you sued the Daily Mail? Well, you know why. Because, to sum up, you covered for the worst people on earth. You lied about it. You told the police to lie about it. The CPS sent out a circular telling the police, we believe these children, make me sick even thinking about it. We believe these children have consented to being tonked by a 58-year-old pot-bellied Iranian. We believe they've consented to getting doused with petrol and beaten up and crusty jizzed all over by a men old enough to be the granddads. We think they've consented. That all happened. So wind your neck in, you ugly sack of rats. How about that? Anyway, just enjoy it for a couple of minutes while I have a drink, because every word he says is true here.
Country of birth, Great Britain, to always try to deflect attention from this scandal, and in fact, to pour opprobrium on anyone who actually exposed this scandal. I think, for instance, you mentioned I weighed into it a little. I didn't particularly. I reposted today 4 pages of a book I wrote 10 years ago that came out in 2017 called The Strange Death of Europe. And in 4 pages of that book, near the beginning, I wrote about this scandal as emblematic of the way in which Britain, European countries, and the West as a whole were utterly incapable of dealing with any of the downsides of mass immigration and failed integration. And in that, I mentioned the heroic former Labour MP, Anne Cryer, who was a constituency Labour MP for one of the areas where parents had come to her.
Another one. This is what I'm getting at. Another one. Anne Cryer. Any Labour MP that tried to whistleblow about the gangs of Puma trackies rogering little girls got sacked and smeared and totally crushed under the iron boot of the state. So I'll repeat it. Soubry, walnut with a face drawn on it. Craggy-faced, Mumra the ever-living, if he dyed his hair with peroxide. Right? Craggy-faced Mumra the ever-living Soubry. If it's defamatory, you're a lawyer. Start suing him. Serve papers on Elon, Douglas Murray, me, Spectator, Daily Mail, Hitchens, Telegraph, a lot of them. They're all lying. It's all defamatory. Payday. Lawyers love a payday, don't they? Go and do it. You absolute filthy sack of carrots. So, anyway, there's an hour and 2 minutes. You can have that for now. Wow. 1,885 viewers there, including Twitter. That is a new record for the Angry Bootneck. I think that is worthy of 12 pints of stout tonight. Yeah, we'll go for that. Oh, no. I promised my missus I was doing dry January. Oh, what am I going to do to celebrate? I'll think of something. She might let me have my biannual shag today. Anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. That was spot on, wasn't it? It's been a brilliant week. I love that. I love it. Elon Musk, you are doing the Lord's work. Please, ladies and gentlemen, remember what I've said. Keep going on Twitter. Keep calling names. Keep mentioning out that Jess Phillips looked like she pinched her teeth off dead livestock she found on the moors. Keep calling Anna Soubry, craggy face, walnut with marker pen eyeballs on. Keep pointing out that Keir Starmer is all crusty and jizzy because he's just a human toilet with glasses on. Whatever you want, keep doing it. Let's keep the bar nice and low so we can keep our morale up. All right? Get yourself on X, spread your seed on X, and ruthlessly abuse all of the people that thoroughly deserve it, safe in the knowledge that every word we say is true. All right? Thanks for watching. See you all very soon. Toodle pip. Cheers. Have a good weekend. Ta-ra.